real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Matthew LeClaire dated the defendant on and off for 4 years, and he suspects that she was cheating on him throughout the relationship. Matthew claims the defendant recently told him that he was not the father of their 1-year-old daughter, and he's suing his ex today for property. Defendant Beata Walsdorf says the only good thing she got from her relationship with Matthew was a beautiful daughter, and she admits she had doubts about Matthew being her father. However, Beata is now convinced that he is her father, and she denies owing him for anything.
Start with you.
Your Honor, when I met this lady 4 years ago from a mutual friend, right off the bat she was ice cold. And when I told her how I felt about her attitude, she actually reached over and grabbed my throat.
That's a little more than ice cold.
No, hang on. He called me a That's what happened. I told him the only people who are allowed
Did you do that?
I did, Your Honor, but only because she was
I think it's justifiable.
You're glad that's all, right? That throat is less sensitive than other parts that she could have grabbed, right?
This is true, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Over the next 4 years, we had an on and off relationship, during which I am fairly positive she was cheating on me the entire time. I actually know of one time for sure she did because she admitted to it.
You all broke up over that?
Not that particular time because I forgave her since she was upfront about it. But then for the next 3.5 years or so, just all the time I'm hearing rumors that she's cheating on me, and in her phone I see texts from countless guys, and basically she just loves playing games with me. Just recently she actually tried saying that our 1-year-old daughter is not mine.
I actually talked to a guy I was dating beforehand, did the math. She would have had to have been born 5 weeks early to be this other guy's. So she is his, whether he wants to admit it or not.
You said you told him it was.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have the message
tell him
here.
that?
Yes, because I was uncertain. I wanted to be
okay.
upfront with him,
All right.
and I did the math. She is his.
Okay, good.
She came up with this I did the math story after she found out I wanted a paternity test, Your Honor.
All
She
right.
can have a paternity test. I don't give a crap.
Okay.
As long as he pays for it.
All right, nothing to get upset about.
I wasted
Let's
4
keep it
years
cheering.
of my life, and the only good thing I got was a beautiful little girl.
There
and
you
a
go.
whole lot of help.
Let's focus on that. Beautiful girl. What do you have to say about the relationship?
Well, we did meet through a mutual friend. I was actually supposed to be a one-night stand after a movie, and turned into a 4-year relationship. Had a little girl, she's beautiful. She turned 1 in February. We had a lot of problems. There was a lot of anger problems. There were things we got along with and things we didn't get along. And after our daughter was born, we both changed, whether it was because of her or not. But there were times when he would be trying to feed her, he'd get so upset he'd throw the bottle, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, especially since she was an infant.
He didn't have anger problems or frustration problems before that?
Well, he did an awful lot of fighting with his family, I can tell you that much.
Before the child?
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor,
so you already
anyone
had
would fight
issues.
with
Pardon?
anyone would fight with my family, Your Honor.
All right.
Plaintiff Matthew LeClaire dated the defendant, and he claims she recently told him that he was not the father of their 1-year-old daughter.
Go ahead, ma'am. So he had anger issues. He'd throw the bottle when he couldn't feed the baby properly. What other issues
Prior to that,
did you
actually,
have?
one time when we broke up, we were engaged, and I went to pick up some of my things from him. I had forgotten the engagement ring, which obviously very upset him. And he came after me when I was in my truck, got into my truck, refused to let me leave until he took my things back, got them out of my hands, got out of my truck, went back to his house, and I went to grab them out of his hands. He grabbed me by the sweatshirt and threw me into the snowbank. And his best friend witnessed that one, so he better not deny it.
Your Honor, I never threw her into the snowbank. That is a complete lie.
Property that you're suing her for, what is that? What property has she failed to return?
I actually have a breakdown here for you, Your
You
Honor.
can tell me as well. May I have it, please, Doyle?
There are a few Xbox games and a TV, an Xbox controller.
Tell me what happened, sir.
We broke up March 23rd, and a couple days later, I went over there to attempt, we were going to talk about reconciling and continuing the relationship. But at that point, I decided, Your Honor, that after 4 years, enough is enough. She got angry, so without grabbing any of my things, I left because I did not want to fight in front of my daughter.
Good.
And then a few days after that, I had a police escort meet me over there so that I could get some of my stuff. She wasn't home the first time, and then I got a message on Facebook from her saying that if I didn't come get my stuff now, she was going to put it outside and hope it doesn't get stolen.
When did she tell you that?
That was on the 5th
Of April?
of April, yes. And I actually have the text
So what
message.
did happen?
So I went over, again, I had an officer meet me there because
When did you go?
that was on the 5th.
Okay.
I went over, and because she didn't even allow me in the house, she met me at the door with a bag of just my clothes, and that was pretty much all she was going to let me take. And so that's when the officer told me that if there was anything else that I wasn't getting, then it was a civil matter. And
Ma'am, why don't you tell me about his items?
We had been dating for quite some time. When I was pregnant, we tried to move in with his mom. Didn't work out. I wasn't happy there. We went and lived with my parents. You know, he went to drill in June of 2011. He decided that he was unhappy living with my parents, so on his way back from drill, he went straight to his parents' house. Let me know he was moving out. All right, fine, that's fine. You're unhappy. We can work this out. And he had come over to pick up his daughter quite a few times, never picked up any of his stuff. I went, my mom's house is not a storage shed. You need to get your stuff. Last she heard of him, and I have a statement from her, was August of 2011. He would come and get his stuff, but he didn't. So when I moved out in November 2011, she sent them with me because she needed the room in her house. The items that I gave back to him when he came with the police officer was the stuff that he had brought to my apartment when I moved out, when he'd come and visit. Like clothes, his laptop was there, which I did give back to him. His Blu-ray player, some of his games, the ones that he had brought over. Everything that was his, I gave to him. But the stuff that he had left at my mother's house in June of 2011 were no longer his. He never came and got them, even though he was out at the house to pick up Sandra, our daughter. We'd go, Matt, when are you coming to get this stuff? He said, you know, I don't know, I don't have a vehicle, I'm living with my mom.
How long did this go on?
All the way up till pretty much November when I moved out.
Okay.
And in February we got back together for a little while, and everything was all right and fine.
Where were his things as of November?
They're at my apartment.
So why won't you give it to him now?
Because he abandoned them.
When's the last time you had contacted him?
When we broke up in June, I told him to come get it. My mom's not a storage shed. She does not need to be treated like that. She's a better person than that. Now, she told him to come get his crap. He never did. We stood home and waited for him to never show up.
Plaintiff Matthew LeClaire dated the defendant, and he claims she recently told him that he was not the father of their one-year-old daughter.
The items that were at your mother's, now they're at your place. When did you first notify him that you were going to discard them if he doesn't come and get them or consider them abandoned?
The ones that we were here for, I didn't. Because at that point,
Okay. But yet
my
you still
mom
have
had
them.
given them to
All
me.
right. Since you never notified him, since the time they arrived at your house, since you've never notified him that he either had to come and get them or you would dispose of them, then they're still his.
He
They're
knew
not
they were
abandoned.
there, and when he would come over,
I understand,
he would say
but
that
the
they
law requires that you notify him, and you admit that you haven't. So I'm going to grant the judgment to the plaintiff. $1,247. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
thank you, Your Honor.
well, Matthew, you win this pity party again. Oh yeah, we can get a paternity test. I know she's his. I just want him to sign off his rights. Because it takes a guy to have a baby. It takes a real man to take care of a child. You don't have a crib. She's sleeping on a freaking couch.
No, we have a toddler bed.
Julie's house has 11 people in it. Plus, my daughter, I think not. It's disgusting. She is disgusting. Her animals are disgusting. You, sir,
Shall we talk about your mom's animals?
bring it. You want to go? Let's go. Oh, he has not heard the last of this. My family is a bunch of backwoods hillbilly rednecks. His family is a scum of the earth.